Welcome to the first session of the MSP software tutorials in which we will focus on the Microsoft project as one of the most popular tools for your project management, in which we focus on how to plan, schedule, and control our project in terms of planning and, of course, the execution phases, and finally, the different reports which we can extract from this powerful software. In this tutorial, we are going to cover different concepts which you may face in your real projects, and by following all the sessions of this tutorial, you will be able to implement whatever you want in MSP software in order to plan your project. First of all, in this tutorial, we focus on some setup about the calendars of your project, since different projects, because of their different circumstances, need to have their customized calendars. You need to customize your calendar and make a specialized calendar for your project in terms of working hours, in terms of the off day, the working days, and other changes which you may have in your own project. In the next step, we will talk about tasks and activities which you have in your projects. We will define all details which you need for your activities in terms of duration, in terms of the predecessors and relationship which you have between your activities. After defining activities, then we go through defining resources which you have in your projects. In this step, we will cover different circumstances of resources which you may have in your real project. Sometimes you may have some limitation for your some resources in terms of their availability, in terms of their amount, in terms of their prices. Maybe the prices are not constant, and it's under changing during a time, and we will show you how you can handle different exceptional situations in terms of defining resources. And based on your own project, you can choose which approach is appropriate and fit for your project. After defining resources, it's time to allocate these resources to the activities which we had defined. In this step, we cover all tips and tricks which you need for resource allocation. And as the important step of your project, one concept is costs. Different costs that you may have for your project. Those costs can be related to your task and activities, or whether the cost can be assigned to the entire project and it's not specific for special activities. They can be fixed costs, they can be variable costs, and we will talk about them, how you should consider them in Microsoft project software. After that, we talk about the how you should level your resources. Maybe after resource allocation you have some over allocation issues. Of course, it depends on your project. Sometimes after resource allocation we consider leveling resources. Sometimes we force the allocation to be leveled automatically from the initial state of your project, and then we consider the cost management. All of these are sequence. It's based on your project, and we try to teach you how you can manage them in your project. In terms of leveling resources, we cover different approaches which you need for your leveling. For example, how you can automatically level resources, how you can use different methods in terms of leveling resources. And after that, we get into the execution phases. As you know, all these steps from project calendar up to leveling resources are related to the planning of your project, and in the execution phases we need the data from a real project. In order to understand this concept, we use the simulated example in which I will give you some data about your execution phases, and I want you how to import those kinds of data in Microsoft project software. There are different points, there are different tips and tricks in the execution phases, which we will cover all of them. And as soon as we have the data about execution phases, we can have different analysis about the current status of our project by defining different metrics in terms of earned value. We will explain completely what is exactly earned value and what are the other metrics which you can extract from this concept, and how you can calculate them in the Microsoft project software, and of course how those metrics help you to anticipate the final status of your project dynamically. And in this step, since we have those data about the planning phase and of course the execution phase, you can have different reports from Microsoft project software, which is really easy, and by a short path and some click and drag you can have your reports. So guys, this is the overview which we will cover in the MSP tutorials and different sessions. So in order to understand these concepts, you should follow the upcoming videos about Microsoft project software. Of course, we will cover other tools, other alternatives such as Primavera in planning and controlling your projects, and we will tell you what are the differences between these software in terms of planning your project, and in which situation you should choose one of them. We will actually explain all the options which these software contains and help you in your project, and of course the limitation. And this is you who to decide choose one of these tools for planning, controlling and managing your project as efficient as possible.